The biggest challenge of our time is in adapting to our current stresses. Those who can adapt will be successful not only getting through COVID-19 issues, but growing from them. And those who can adapt well are going to have trouble, health-wise and otherwise. So when we are able to get into a flow and a pattern and go with what's going on, then we're going to be so much more successful. Because these instances become brain trauma. These current stresses become trauma to the brain. Much like a kid who has trauma to the brain with parents divorcing, or a parent going to jail, or a parent losing their job. Those are called adverse childhood experiences. Except now that we're having adverse adulthood experiences, and it's causing us to need to adapt in a way that we haven't ever been challenged to before. And when we adapt successfully, we're going to grow from this, and we're going to experience a greater quality of life in the long run. If we are not able to adapt to this, then our quality of life is going to gradually go downhill. So one of the things that can help us adapt is QNRT, Quantum Neural Reset Therapy. It's something that we do a lot. It unlocks trauma from the brain. And in unlocking that trauma from the brain, our brains can flow with things easier. Our brains can adapt to things easier. We are not triggered by things like we once were. And so if we're a business person, we can clear that trauma, and you might not be triggered by somebody else setting up the rules for your business, which is pretty difficult for an independent person. Or if you're a highly social person and you haven't been able to socialize because of COVID-19, there's going to be some trauma there, and we can clear that so that you can once again be your social, bubbly self. And even people that are having to wear masks right now are having trouble adapting to that mask being up front here all the time and breathing in your own air and having less oxygenation to the lungs and having moisture hit this mask, which sets up a mold response in the body. And so we're seeing people having mold responses, which is hitting the cerebellum, the balance area of the brain, and it's hitting the lungs. And we're clearing people on that are having stresses adapting to wearing these masks that may be required in the work environment. So the more successful that we can adapt to these current stresses, the healthier that we can be. You've probably got your own set of stresses, many beyond what I mentioned here. But if you can find help in adapting to those, and our QNRT work is one of the best things I know out there to do so, then you will be so much better off, and you will have so much higher quality life, and you will be able to grow through this versus just make it through it. I'm Dr. Michael Winters, Winters Wellness, Chiropractic Redefined.